Reserve. The root of all our evil, it begins with the Federal Reserve. Hey, yeah, well, let's go back in time when everybody was so proud of a man.
I'm Tommy Salmons. This is Year Zero. Today, I have Berto from Ghost Jail. Berto is a musician and a producer of the once-a-month released Ghost Jail. We just have a casual conversation, talk about Ghost Jail, talk about the environment around us, why it is that people are attracted to Ghost Jail, and the type of people that it is attracting, and how even though Berto is anti-political, he is attracting a lot of people that are involved in the political. As always, RyanBunting.com for all of your graphic design needs. Go to RyanBunting.com. Ryan Bunting is a great anarcho-capitalist and libertarian. He's also a great graphic designer. Go to RyanBunting.com for all of your graphic design needs. And thank you, Tom Burton, for the music. One quick aside that is going to be newly advertised for the show is my wife and I are expanding her virtual assistant business. We are doing this in order to bring more clientele for her and put me in a position where I can come home and work. So if you know anybody who has administrative work done but can't afford or has no need for a full-time administrator, get a hold of me at tommysalmons@gmail.com. That's tommysalmons@gmail.com. You can email me and we can schedule a consultation in which we will talk to the small business owner that is looking for an administrator, and we can see if we are all a good fit. So that is some exciting news moving forward. Enjoy the show. All right. Well, I am here with Berto from Ghost Jail. What's going on, man?
Uh-oh. Did it cut out?
There you go. I can hear you.
Hey.
Yeah, we got the gremlins fucking with us today.
Yep. So what you want me to introduce myself or something?
Yeah, we can get to that. Go ahead.
Sure. So I'm Berto. Make a podcast called Ghost Jail. It's kind of like an audio zine where I kind of make music, and it's like pick a topic every month and do music, just like stitch it together into some kind of thing. I don't really know how to describe it, but yeah, it's me and a couple buddies.
It's fucking tripped out. That's how you describe it. It's fucking tripped out.
Me and a couple buddies, a guy named Dust Breeder, a guy named Illich, a guy named Classman. You can find them all on Twitter on my page if you look at my bio. So yeah, that's basically the general plug.
Well, I want to talk about it. I want to, because I thought I have a lot of listeners that listen to Ghost Jail, and
do you?
Yes, I do actually. So
interesting.
I was like, you had commented to Thad about wanting him to come on your podcast.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I saw that like right at the same time he did. And so I clicked on your podcast to see what was going on. Like, and I listened to probably about 5 minutes of it. I come back and I went to say something and ask, wait, what the fuck is this? And Thad goes, I don't get it. All I hear is a bunch of fucking music. And I was like, okay, thank you. I don't get it either. And I guess it's because we're old fucking men, I guess. And I guess that's all it is. But I have listened to a couple of episodes since then, because I'm like, everybody I know really likes this. So it's like, okay, I gotta figure out what it is about this that everybody likes so much. So when y'all were coming up with this concept, how did this come about? How did y'all come up with this idea?
I just emailed a couple buddies that I knew from Twitter and was like, we should do. It's based on Joe Frank.
No.
So Joe Frank is this guy who he had like a podcast on NPR. I don't know what station he was on, but I would listen to NPR and he would just come on sometimes. And it was like kind of college radio-ish. It was like it was all just music and him telling weird stories in like a smoky voice and just like being all jazzy or something. I don't really know how to describe it. It's just this. It was like experimental radio kind of, and I just love the concept of like raping people's ears with with just weird shit on a normal radio station that you'd expect to hear like the news on or something, you know?
Yeah.
And
no, go ahead.
yeah, he would have music and monologues basically. That was the whole deal. And sometimes like phone calls and sometimes just really bizarre clips of audio, someone talking. And yeah, it was cool. So that was the main influence. And then like we just added our sensibilities to it, which is like $1 Million Extreme. Are you familiar with Sam Hyde, $1 Million Extreme?
No.
That's a comedian who kind of got canceled or something. He's quite good.
All the good ones get canceled.
Yeah. He's quite good. And then, so, yeah, we just, like, brought our sensibilities, like, that type of stuff, and then just the music we listen to, and, yeah.
So, I think, did you say when you were on Slurp Gang, y'all don't actually record the, I guess, quote-unquote vocals, whatever, those clips? Yeah. Y'all don't record that. Y'all have other people send that in?
Do you think I should put headphones on? Sorry.
Oh, that's up to you. I can hear just fine.
You're not getting an echo or anything?
No.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so to answer your question, we get it all sent in. I literally just message people and ask if they want to be on and tell them the topic. And they send me this solid gold. I don't know, just a lot of talented people out there, I guess. Yeah, everybody sends something different. Sometimes I'll like guide it along or like say something to direct the episode. Like with the war episode, I kind of told people they could not be anti-war. If they wanted to be ironically pro-war, they could, but that was the only rule.
Yeah, well, what I found about that and what I found entertaining about the anti-war one or the war one is that it came across as absurd.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so
a lot of people I think were anti-war, but I told them not to be.
Yeah, it almost came across as satire, which was to me was entertaining.
Most of it was. Yeah, most of it was.
And then the conspiracy one I started, I don't know, probably about 30 minutes, 45 minutes before we started here. And I was laughing at that. I thought that one was pretty funny. And then the on vacation. All right, I got to ask you about this. What's with the redneck?
Which one?
The one talking to his daughter. Talking.
Oh, yeah, that was the Eternal Dillards, the great and powerful Eternal Dillards on Twitter. Look him up.
I was like, what the fuck?
That guy's a genius, man. I don't know. He just sends me the weirdest shit. That was his character, Love You Bye, that he does. And I think he has a SoundCloud. I don't know how to properly promote the SoundCloud, but it's in the episode description on on vacation episode of Ghost Jail. But yeah, he just was talking to his daughter about
I don't even know how to really describe it without
I like it.
It was fucking hilarious, but at the same time it was super disturbing.
Yeah, so it was a guy talking about his daughter on vacation and how he paid for it. Well, he was talking to someone, you didn't know who, and then he reveals that it's his daughter after he says all sorts of very weird shit like he might be talking to his wife. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you get the impression he's a jilted lover right up until
exactly.
Right up until he says you'll always be my daughter. It's that was definitely hilarious. I was driving whenever I heard that, and I was like, oh my god.
Crazy motherfucker, man.
Yeah, that was funny. I couldn't stop laughing about that. I was like, I'm definitely asking him about this crazy redneck. I don't know.
He's doing a voice. So that's the same guy from the War. I don't remember his bit from the War episode. Oh, he was. You remember the Bo Bergdahl bit?
Well, oh yes.
The guy who says he's Bo Bergdahl and says that his favorite band is the band War.
Yeah.
That's him, yeah. So he's Bo Bergdahl on the War episode, and then he's the redneck on the vacation one.
Oh, yeah. The one clip, y'all played a couple of actual like clips. On War, and the one clip that y'all didn't play was the Madeleine Albright. Whenever they ask her about the 500,000 Iraqi kids that had died.
Oh, she says the price was worth it, right?
Yeah, she said we feel the price was worth it. Yeah, that's the one clip. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's got to be in the one that you put Scott on, because I know you were talking about having Scott Horton. That should be Scott Horton's introduction. You should make him listen to that 1,000 times in a padded room. Just like lock him up in a room and play that clip over and over and over again, and then put a mic in front of him and let him go.
Man, Scott Horton's a genius.
I love Scott. Scott's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's actually put my podcast up at the Libertarian Institute, and so he has me working with him, and he's a great dude.
Yeah, he's a really smart guy. I mean, all I know him from is his appearances on Dave Smith, and I think he's been on Thaddeus. I just know him from that circle, you know.
Yeah, he actually taught a course at Renegade University.
Nice.
Yeah, but he has his own show, and his show is just remarkable.
Yeah, I've listened, and I just like I can't initiate myself into it. You have to like know a few things, and I know that if you listen enough, you'll start catching on, but I just don't.
Yeah,
I'm not like educated enough about foreign policy.
Yeah, well, when you're out on the road like I am, you have a lot of time, you know, to do those things and try to figure that shit out. And yeah, you listen to about 10 episodes, and you know more than the average senator.
Yeah, I bet, man. I bet. I can't believe how knowledgeable that guy is. I mean, like, where does he come from? Just studying all the time?
Yeah, I mean, he's done. What's he done? He's done over 5,500 interviews now with journalists that have been on the ground and just cover the stuff constantly.
Jesus.
And that's all he does is he reads about that. He's written 2 books on it.
I bought his I didn't buy Fool's Errand. I bought the new one.
The more recent one is Enough Already. Yeah.
Yeah, Enough Already. I bought that one. I have not read it yet, but I will.
Yeah, it's really good. I've gotten like 3 chapters into it, but because I'm reading, I read it when I'm at home, and then I read another one when I'm out here on the road.
Nice.
Then I listen to audiobooks while I'm driving, and you know, it's like
nice, man.
I'm dumping more information in my head than I could probably contain. I've had to stop. I've stopped at the end of some days and just like had like blurry vision and like, okay, I hit overload today. Like I can't do anything.
So that's what's so beautiful about the like podcasting stuff is that you can, I mean, like you really can just like learn about. I mean, if you listen to the right ones, you can get like, artistic edification from some. You can get like, you can kind of get everything. It's really cool that what's happened with podcasts.
Yeah.
I think they get a bad rap sometimes because people just like hear the word and they're like turned off sometimes. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, because everybody and their mother has a podcast.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And the way I look at it is like you have basically three major cable news channels, right?
Yep.
If you look at the amount of podcasts out there, you can find one that's right for you. You don't have to listen to every one of them. I mean, like I have a lot of friends in the podcast world, and I'll check out their podcasts every once in a while. But we all know we don't have time to listen to every podcast we want to listen to.
Yeah.
We have to prioritize. But I mean, podcasters aren't podcasting for other podcasters.
Yeah. I'm a podcaster's podcaster.
You're a rave podcaster.
Yeah, I think so. Or like
you and I were actually talking about it. Like you should put on a rave and like play like live performances.
Yeah, I've been thinking about doing that at like not like a rave necessarily, but just like a weird live performance with stuff that we've made, or like kind of live mixing this music that we made, and just having people read stories over and do like a similar thing to what we do on the show. But it's really hard, like logistically, to figure out how to do that, especially when we're all in different places.
Yeah.
All the creators of the show. So eventually.
Yeah, but it's really cool. Like it's not I can't say it's something that I could listen to every week, but that's perfect because y'all release it once a month. And in a month I can get through it. I can go 15 minutes listening to it, just chilling and hanging out, kind of like refresh, laugh a little bit, and then go on to something else and, get back into an audiobook or something like that. So I like that. But it really is, I think I told you, it's like y'all release an album every month, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, it's really, really fucking hard. I think it's going to have to be like, to maintain the quality, I think it's going to have to be like 10 episodes and done per season, and then like start a season 2 eventually, I think it'll have to be like, like a TV show,
Yeah.
And you can just like listen at your leisure,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can imagine like that y'all are working right up to the very end, trying to get it all clipped together.
Yeah, and then there's the problem of just being lazy and just like I'm at the 20th, I have not nearly enough done, Yeah, so.
And so there's the 4 of y'all that work on it. Or y'all are just creating music?
So I am a musician. 3 of us are musicians. We have 2 like electronic type producers. That's me and Dust Breeder. Dust Breeder will make like more high fidelity, like really nice sounding stuff. I make like a kind of weird. If you hear any like stuff that sounds like video game music, that'll usually be me, stuff like that. It's kind of hard. We kind of overlap in styles a lot, so it's hard to tell who's who sometimes, but, sometimes. And then there's a guy called Classman who makes... So he didn't have any place to record for the first few episodes, but now that it's like starting at the vacation episode, he had a couple songs in the first one, but then... starting at the vacation episode, he had like the equipment and the place to record. So he makes like guitar music. So if you hear like guitars, all that spacey ambient guitar music on the vacation episode.
Yeah,
that's him. So yeah, that's what we do, and then uh, Dust Breeder will talk. He'll talk over his clips, and he'll like set up whole skits where he does sound effects and clips and just like his voice. And then Classman will send in clips of him talking on the topic, and then I'll incorporate those. And then like Illich is a comedian, so he doesn't do music, but he sends in a lot of voice. So those are the four creators. That's the
Okay,
center.
gotcha. Yeah, and then there's and so when y'all are
But for
doing
me, though, sorry,
no,
I usually don't talk. Occasionally, I did the kid at the summer camp with the baby voice.
uh
I do stuff like that. I did like a woman voice for one episode. I don't know. I very rarely talk,
huh.
but I'm not a very good speaker. Yeah, I'm starting to go on podcasts, and I just like I don't know what the fuck to say.
It's because yours is the first name on the podcast. So when we
Yeah.
look at the details, you're the first name that pops up. So it's like, all right,
I,
well, that's,
I think I'm like I
this
think
guy's
I'm like
podcast.
I think I'm safe to say that I'm like the. I don't want to, discredit the other guys, but like I would safe to say that I'm like the editor in chief or something.
Yeah,
I collect most of the clips. I like do a lot of I'll like stitch the episode together and make a lot of the music, but everybody does a lot, so
yeah. No, I
it's kind
didn't.
of like the central point.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody's playing their role, and y'all are getting it put together, and it sounds good. The quality's great. It's something, like I said, it's something really different, which is nice. Sometimes it kind of breaks you out of the monotony of everything else going on, and so
Yeah,
that's
there's a lot of cool podcasts popping up now. It's really nice.
yeah,
A lot of experimental college radio type stuff, which I love.
yeah. I was not aware of that, but that's not
I'll
really my scene.
send you some links. There's one called the Isolation Chamber. There's one called I forgot. Shoot, Painter Man. There's a lot of cool ones out there now. Yeah. Are you into music, man?
Well,
You got a lot of tattoos.
yeah, I'm a old school metalhead. Yeah, from
Nice,
a long
man.
time ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
What kind? Like, drop
Uh,
some names.
well, my favorite's sludge metal. So Crowbar and Down, I Hate God, Goat Whore. Those are just some legendary, sludge metal bands. But I
Yeah,
love I love Lamb of God.
Oh, me too, man.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
like.
know.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up listening to Pantera. So
Nice. Great band.
yeah, Sabbath. I mean, who doesn't love
Nice.
Sabbath? So yeah, I listen to a lot of metal. Usually, I listen to music when I'm at home with the wife. Uh, don't listen to so much when I'm out on the road. So
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to like you get into podcasts, and then it's like it's hard to turn the music back on sometimes. I
well,
used to
yeah,
always listen in the car.
yeah. Like I said, I'm always prepping for my next podcast. I'm always trying to catch up on some subject that I can incorporate into a podcast or have a conversation with somebody or something like that. There must
Yeah,
be
yeah.
there must be a dog outside or something. He's freaking out.
I also was into metal actually, man. I kind of came up on metal and was in a metal band for a while,
Oh yeah.
and we did a little touring and stuff, and kind of quit when I decided to like finally go to school and shit. Probably shouldn't have, honestly, but I did.
Yeah.
Glad I did. Just because I wouldn't be here where I am now without it. But the waste of money and all that. But yeah, I was into metal.
Nice. Who are some of the
Yeah.
bands you really liked?
So I came up on like the metalcore days,
Yeah.
So I was like into like Between the Buried and Me.
I like them.
Yeah, and like Every Time I Die, I really like. What else do I turn on? Job for a Cowboy. Still Lamb of God.
Job for a Cowboy is fucking badass. Yeah.
Oh, very, very good. Yeah. I love that shit. I mean, they were good after their first album. I have to say that. After the first one, they were amazing. And then, yeah, I don't know. I can't really think of any more, but just all sorts of shit, man.
Yeah.
I came up on like fucking the lamest metalcore, like Devil Wears Prada. You know them?
I've heard of them. I don't know them. Yeah.
Like the guys with the hair flip shit, you know?
Yeah, they look like, a gothic flock of seagulls.
Yeah, exactly. That type of shit. Yeah. That's what I kind of grew up on. Like, not really grew up on. That's what I started. That's how I got into metal. That's what I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I would listen to like emo and then screamo, and then, I slowly got into like fucking Behemoth,
That's not a bad place to end, though. I mean,
yeah.
So how did you go from metal to electronic music?
Well, I was always into like I said, I was always into all kinds of fucking music, I was always into every kind of music. So I still am. And I'm not like exclusively a electronic guy. I don't listen to metal quite as much anymore, but when I do turn it on, I love it, of course. But yeah, I didn't really have any kind of trajectory that led me to electronic music. It's just kind of easier to make. I don't have to have a bunch of microphones. I get to experiment with weird sounds. It's like convenient and also kind of limitless,
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if you were like a big like Nine Inch Nails fan and shit like that.
I never really listened to Nine Inch Nails. I do respect the man, and a lot of people like him that I do respect too.
I grew up in their prime. I was in high school in the '90s, so I mean that's when Nine Inch Nails was Nine Inch Nails, So yeah,
I know he's a very talented fella.
Yeah.
He got into electronic music too.
Yeah.
More and more.
Yeah, I mean the last album I heard from them, it sounded like something you would hear at the skating rink back in the 80s, and I was like, okay, I think I'm done with Nine Inch Nails. I think I'll stick with a Downward Spiral, and I'll just listen to that old shit, Wish and all that crap.
Not familiar, man. A lot of these go over my head.
It's just the old Nine Inch Nails shit, man. For my old school listeners, they'll be like, yeah, man.
Oh, gotcha. Those are albums. Yeah, I'm not really I don't listen to too much Nine Inch Nails, like I said, but I do respect them, and I've heard, like, what I've heard is very cool, but it's just not something that I turn on.
Yeah. I would definitely, you like metal, I would definitely tell you to check out the album, A Downward Spiral, which is, it's probably one of their heavier albums. It was really good.
Good to know.
Yeah, probably had their best hits on it too. At least their most well-known hits, like Head Like a Hole.
Was that when he was? Was that when he was dunking on Bush?
No, I think you're thinking about Ministry.
No, it wasn't. I swear that
Ministry had a whole album called New World Order. And and it was all just fucking everything. Every song had George W. Bush clips in it. Every song.
Huh. Yeah, no, I don't think that's who I was thinking of. I swear that what's his name? Trent Reznor did a big stunt, a big George Bush stunt at some point.
He may have. And
everybody was doing that shit.
Yeah, I may just not remember it, but I know Ministry had their entire album that came out was just fuck George Bush, like the entire album was. But it was a good album too. It was the last good album they released, actually. So
George Bush did nothing wrong, man.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Maybe not. Honestly.
I don't know if he was making all those decisions, so I'm not gonna. ultimately the buck's got to stop with him for some of this shit, though.
Yeah, I had one of the co-producer, like I would give him a co-producer credit on the war episode of Ghost Jail. This guy named Falstaff, who used to have a really great Twitter account. He's kind of, I don't really know if there's even a way to promote him anymore, but this guy kind of co-produced the episode, is like a big Cheney stan. He loves Cheney.
Oh, God.
I don't know if it's hard to say if he's joking or not, but like he claims to be completely unironically into Michael Bay and Dick Cheney and George Bush and all that type of shit.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he likes the like decadent, crazy, insane war state. Like, I think he is just like he likes to cheer it on for fun. He just sees it as like end times. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're an accelerationist, I have a hard time getting over the innocents that have been lost.
I don't think he intellectualizes it in that way. I have trouble describing him. He has like a weird artistic vision for the world as like America does a final boss battle with China, and then we turn into Africa, and except for with more swag, with warring tribes of podcasters and shit like that, you know, and like SoundCloud rappers with machine guns.
I'm gonna pretend like he's joking, because none of this makes any sense to me. This sounds like a really bad South Park episode.
I did not do it justice, but it is like sometimes you'll see something and you'll just think of him because it's so like on par with his vision. It's crazy.
Yeah, it sounds like a really bad South Park episode. That's all I can. Every time you start,
you mean a really good South Park episode.
You're describing the podcast, the third world country podcasters, and I'm just imagining a South Park episode where they got a bunch of Ethiopians walking around with like podcast gear.
Yeah, with like podcast gear, but it's not like actual Africans. It's Americans. It's just the racial makeup of America, and everyone's wearing like Nikes and
Jinkos.
It's like the Warriors.
Can we bring Jinkos back for this?
Yeah, Jinkos. There can be a whole group that all wears Jinkos.
Jinkos, and then you got another group that wears nothing but Tommy Hilfiger.
Yeah, and they all exactly. It's like, have you seen the Warriors?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they all have like outfits and shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very funny.
Like this Gangs of New York remake sounds really bad.
It would be awesome, bro. Just not in reality. Maybe it's a movie.
Yeah. I can picture it as a satire, but that's about it. You know.
Yeah.
Don't let conservatives make it though. Don't let conservatives make it. Any movie I've ever seen made by conservatives has been shit. Just total fucking shit.
Yeah, man. See, here's a problem. Like, there's a problem with conservatives and like Christians and all these people who are explicitly politically something on the right, I guess. It's not a rule, but it's like often they just like try to mimic something that's real that happened organically, like, and make it into a right-wing thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's not a good thing to do.
Well, it just comes across preachy and fake.
Yeah. And they're trying to like take something and instill it with their values rather than just make something, you know? Yeah.
Well, and see, this is a perfect segue to something I wanted to talk to you about, because I know you don't identify as a libertarian, but you say you have sympathies for libertarian. And I don't identify as a libertarian. I consider myself an agorist. I don't know if you know what that is, but
I do not.
Okay, so
This is why I don't. I do identify as a libertarian, actually, I guess, but like, just in the sense of like completely superficially, like, leave me the fuck alone, bro.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just really, bitchy, don't bother me, shit. You know.
Yeah. Well,
On a base level, I'm a libertarian.
Yeah, yeah, and I think most people, to an extent, are to some degree.
Yeah.
But an agorist is a person that lives within the counter economy, right? So what you would consider an agorist flag would be the black and gray flag, right? And it's a representative of working in the black and gray markets. Okay.
Oh.
So all your economic activity, you're trying to keep as much of your economic activity below radar and out from government intervention as possible. So I don't know where you live at, but let's just say like you're driving through a small town and you see like that vegetable cart or fruit cart on the side of the road, selling fruit on the side of the road. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but that would be working in the gray market. You know, those people are they're just selling their fruits. They're not claiming all that shit and paying taxes on that shit. They're just selling their fruits, you know. Or like the common shade tree mechanic, that would be a gray market, you know, just your buddy you call the shade tree mechanic. The
Not
buddy.
sure what that is.
All right, like let's say you have a buddy of yours that's a mechanic, right? And you call him up and say, "Hey man, I can't afford to put this car in the shop, but it needs a new alternator. If I give you, $150, will you come do it for me?" You know?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
You see what
and
I'm
I'll
saying?
just like give you
That-
the car.
yeah, that's gray market. That's counter economy. Like it's just working outside of the mainstream economy. So
all the good, everything good.
Yes, and then you know what the black market is. I don't have to explain that to you. So
Yeah, it's like everybody. Like everybody was that. Like my dad is that. He's a lawyer, and he's like, he has a guy for everything, and they work in cash.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And so I approach it from a philosophical standpoint. So I act in this way intentionally because I know what my goal is. And my goal is to live as free as possible. Right. Mm-hmm. And so this is a way that I can claim some sort of autonomy and freedom in my own life and live my life as I see fit. So that's the point of it.
I respect it.
Yeah. So, but
I'm just too lazy.
That's all right. When y'all are coming up with these episodes, how do you come up with the ideas? Is it just some random word you pull out of a hat, or do you have like a big ass bulletin board with subject matter and you're just crossing them off as you go? Like, how are you doing this?
We'll just talk about it, man. We'll just get together on like voice chat or something and just talk about it, and then come out with something.
Do you have when you come up with a subject, do you have a specific goal in mind when you come up with a subject?
Sometimes, yeah. So, like I said, with the first couple, we didn't really. I kind of just I tell everyone that comes on the show that they're not allowed to talk about Twitter drama or current events or anything. So that kind of keeps it from being whatever take you kind of would expect, it keeps it from being just all the same take. Everybody just giving this minute in news, and that also kind of keeps it from being just something that you only listen to once. But so that's one of the goals, and then just like with the specific topics for the war episode, I didn't want it to come out being like, if there's a very specific thing I don't want to end up happening with the topic, that will probably end up that way. Like with war, I'd probably get a bunch of guys talking about how war is bad. So I told them none of them were allowed to do it, you know?
Yeah.
And then with, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of another one. I don't know. Like with the vacation episode, I wanted to really avoid politics and just everything that you hear about all day, every day, because I wanted it to kind of like be a vacation too. So I kind of told everybody that submitted that rule, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes if I got a recording that had too much of that in there, I would tell them, could you please re-record this? You know?
Yeah. Well,
So that's the answer for whether we have a goal in mind. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
yeah, no, I was just curious because what it seems like, and whether it's intentional or not, and just what I've listened to, which I haven't listened to all your episodes, and I've only listened to the war one all the way through. So what it feels like is happening, maybe it's organically, is you're addressing the insane clown world culture that we live in right now without directly addressing it. And you're just kind of mocking the absurdity of everything that's going on.
I guess so. I mean, yeah, that must happen organically because we've never really talked about that. But I mean, whatever you see in it, yeah.
Well, I think this is why
that.
I think this is why libertarians like it, is because libertarians are very trolly, and it's got this troll feel to it. Like,
I think so, yeah.
you know, and so it's all like mockery of, like, especially the on vacation one. I looked at this as the entire episode came across to me as like, fuck your COVID and fuck your lockdowns. We want to do shit. Yeah, like, we want to do shit. Leave us the fuck alone. Right?
Yeah, it was just like, yeah.
So it's almost by proxy, you're engaging in culture and this conservation of what you see as cultural norms. But you're doing it in a way that's entertaining, and it's not like this show, like, where it's all up in your fucking face, you know? And so, which I find very amusing.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I appreciate all that, and I'm happy that it comes off that way. I didn't really like set out with anything in mind. I don't really set out with anything in mind, but the guys that I get to be on and just, I mean, I guess it's just the people who are on it and it's all these guys from Twitter, you know, and they're all just kind of having fun, and they want to just have fun with culture instead of not have fun with it.
No, yeah, but see, that's an old adage, is politics is downstream from culture. So as culture changes, the politics change, right?
Yeah.
And so what you're doing is you're engaging in the battle on the front line without even acknowledging that you're engaging in the battle on the front line.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess so, but I mean, like, we kind of talked about that a little bit. We didn't really want, like, this is why I try to avoid politics in general, because if it was political, it would end up like a conservative thing, like you were talking about, you know. It would end up like a try-hard conservative art piece, like one of those movies you were talking about, or like something made by a conservative. And yeah, I didn't want it to end up that way.
No, and that's why I said I think it's happening organically. I don't think it's anything you've actually, like, I didn't know if you had set out for it or if it was organic, but it seems like it's happening organically on your part.
Most of the guys especially on the first four, I mean, at least were Trump guys, you know?
Yeah.
Mostly Trump people.
Well, the Trump guys we know can meme, so that's what it is. It's the sound of a meme.
Yeah. Organic memes.
This is what a meme sounds like.
I guess so, man. But yeah, that I get what you're saying, and we've actually kind of accidentally talked about that just because it came up. Like, I mean, I know guys who are like setting out to create culture and change the culture that way, and that does not work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only person I've heard do an excellent job with that is my buddy David Sanchez with Havoc. And
Not familiar.
okay, well they're a metal band out of Colorado, and
Nice.
yeah, and his lyrics are extremely good, extremely like I just want to be free, so go fuck yourself. But the music is so fucking just old school thrashy, really good
Nice.
music. They've played festivals in England and in
Nice.
like Colombia and all kinds of places, right? So yeah, like so they're doing a really good job with that. Phil from All That Remains, he's a big libertarian, Phil Labonte, and so
Yep.
but I don't know if his lyrics aren't necessarily as in your face as David's are, but no, I think the fact that you kind of accidentally stumbled onto it is a good thing, and to keep it out of your goal. Don't make it your primary goal, because it seems to be happening whether you like it to happen or not.
I mean, we just kind of just want to make I just kind of want culture to be what it was like fucking 10 years ago.
Right.
I remember it,
Yeah.
I remember what it was. I just want like fucking dick jokes and like people to not have to think about what's going, all this stuff all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure if that's exactly what we're achieving, but if it was, it would be great.
Well, it's the culture of anti-politics, which is how I grew up. I was apolitical up until probably 2014.
Yeah, that's something that's one thing. Like, I kind of would like be snarky toward people who are like super political. Yeah. But
yeah.
the only ones but I don't know. I do like I said, the one group that I can stand when they get political is libertarians, man. Yeah.
Well, it's because we're trying to leave you alone.
Yeah.
Which is what you want. I mean, the ultimate goal of a libertarian is to get the government out of our fucking lives. Like, leave us all alone,
Yeah.
So, I mean, y'all did a great job talking about it on Slurp Gang, as far as like there are the douchey, libertarians that we all get thrown in our face, and we're all like, who the fuck are you, dude? Shut up.
Yeah. Nobody likes a guy who would identify as socially liberal.
I had a guy tell me that. I was laughing when they were talking about that. And this dude told me, he goes, a libertarian is just somebody who's socially liberal and fiscally conservative. I said, no, dude. A libertarian is somebody who is socially awkward and fiscally unpopular.
That's a fact, man.
So, I mean, it's much easier to sell socialism, because you don't have to be responsible,
Yep.
So don't try to sell that fiscal conservatism to me.
Yeah. It's like they just say we'll just give it to you or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Feels much better. Better.
The best thing about recent years is that the hippies converted, man.
Yeah.
The hippies converted. They really did. I mean, there's no way around it for someone who's like a true blue, like hippie type guy. You can't be on the left anymore with that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's impossible. They want to like have control over their bodies and shit.
Yeah. Well, the hippies are live and let live, and it's just like, whoa, you know?
Yeah.
And I first discovered that with like Adam Kokesh. He's very kind of got that hippie mentality to him.
Yeah.
You know?
When it's like really obvious, when they're really like obviously trying to stick you with some weird vaccine, and they're like telling you when you can go outside and shit.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean the I don't think the hippie people.
The goddamn UK came out a couple of weeks ago and said, okay, it's okay if you hug your fucking family again.
Oh yeah,
Who the fuck are you, bitch?
As if everybody in the fucking UK wasn't doing that the whole goddamn time.
I bet some of them weren't.
People.
I bet some of them weren't.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people who are crazy, but I mean, if you think about it, like, I mean, everybody I know, like, was seeing their families.
Well, these people in the UK were primed for this, and the only reason I know that is my wife lived there for a couple of years, and she said she remembered, and this was before anything about COVID ever came out. Like she was telling me, she was like, "Hey, you'll never guess. I just remembered this, the craziest shit." And I was like, "What's that?" She goes, "They have commercials in the UK, and it'll be like public service announcement. Someone you know has the flu. Fact." And so they were already terrified of germs.
Yeah.
You know, so
they get. I mean, I don't know why they didn't think of this earlier. The liberals to like just get people freaking out about germs. You know.
I don't think. I think it was because the culture wasn't to such a point where they could have gotten away with it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they tried. I mean, there was a disease every goddamn year. You know?
Yeah.
There's always a disease. This is just the first one that worked because it was a good enough story.
Yeah,
you know?
Swine flu, bird flu, every fucking kind of flu you can think of, man.
They got people talking, but they didn't get people doing this. You know.
I never even talked about it. And see, that's why I didn't pay attention to this for shit. I didn't even pay attention to COVID until I walked into a tobacco store to buy fucking cigarettes, and they were like, "You got to put on a mask." I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? I'm buying cigarettes. Like, I give a shit about my lungs."
Yeah.
It was like, makes no fucking sense to me, you know. and so that's whenever I really started looking at it, like, what the fuck? Well, and being a trucker, I was driving across. I go to Louisiana all the time. So nice. I'm in Texas and Louisiana all the time. And so it was, I remember when they had the border shut down for pedestrian vehicles. Now, they weren't fucking with us, but you would see lines of cars getting checked by state troopers.
Oh my God.
People coming into Texas from Louisiana. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what the hell's going on?
COVID checkpoint? I've never seen anything like that.
Well, they did that for a few weeks and then they shut it down. They were just like, the cops refused to even do it. The cops just ended up napping in their car, and all the cars just drove past, you know?
Yeah.
But they did it for a few weeks, right there. I guess it was in April of last year.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah, and so it was right at the peak of all the hysteria. And
the cops are just like, "What are we, fucking Chinese?"
Yeah. Or I'm not a fucking doctor. What do I fucking know? You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that went on for just a few weeks. But I remember when I first saw it, I was like, "Whoa, what the hell is happening?" But when I first heard of COVID, first thing that popped in my head was bird flu, swine flu, like whatever. This is going to be over in a month. You know, like whatever. You know?
Yeah.
And shit, here we are over a year later, and they're still just trying to shove this shit down our throats.
That's what I thought too. Like, I thought it was just like, oh yeah, here's another fucking disease. Let's get whine about it for a week. It might be worse than the others, but it'll be gone. You know, like everybody will stop whining about it soon, but guess not. Yeah. I mean, it was significantly worse, and I mean, you know, I don't know anyone who died from swine flu, but I didn't hear of anyone who died of swine flu, but I heard of like you know, my coworkers' parents died, so like from COVID. So when it gets to that, like it did get to a level where you had to like it affected people's lives. So like people were freaking out.
Yeah.
It's kind of understandable that people freaked out, but I mean, at what cost, you know?
So much of the focus of my podcast is to point out abuses of power and how bad things have gotten and the direction in which we're heading as a society. And it can be a real black pill. I've partnered up with Richard Grove to offer my listeners an opportunity to sign up to his Autonomy Course. The Autonomy Course is designed for people looking for solutions, people that want to shape their own future, people that are not willing to be at the behest of large corporations or the United States government or the banking system. The Autonomy Course is designed for those of you who wish to have complete control of the reins of your life, who are looking to be successful, to thrive and not just survive, to provide for your family by utilizing your existing skills and learning how to market and sell those skills in order to be your own boss, or learn new skills in order to leverage that into a new career opportunity. So if there's a job out there you've been trying to get or you've been wishing you could get, but you just don't have the skills for it, the Autonomy Course is the place for you to start, to learn how to land that position, to learn how to market yourself better, to gain confidence, and to be surrounded by a community of like-minded people that will encourage you and help you along the way. So use my affiliate links and go check out the Autonomy Course. It could be right for you. Yeah, well, that was the thing. I mean, you've destroyed so many lives that weren't devastated by COVID. You've destroyed millions, tens of millions of lives because 500,000 people died, you know, and it's like, okay, like, and then you look at the way the testing is, and then you're like, okay, did these people even die of COVID? Like, because the testing is so flawed, and everything that, like, I've talked to, I had a respiratory therapist on my podcast, and he said he saw firsthand people like with gunshot wounds to the head that tested positive for COVID, and they were marked as a COVID death.
Oh shit! Damn,
yeah,
that's crazy.
It's like, okay, like, how many of these deaths are just bullshit? He said he knew of one story. There's one guy that had lost almost all his mobility, and he was tired of living that way, so he pulled the plug on himself and committed suicide. And they tested him after he was dead and marked it as a COVID death because after he was dead, he tested positive.
Damn.
But he showed no symptoms of COVID prior to that. It's just like, okay, this is fucking insanity.
So much funky shit was going on. There was so many. I feel like it's just something crazy, pretty crazy happened. You know, there was a crazy thing going around, a new thing that was kind of scary. You know, like a super flu that was brand new. People freaked out, and you know, everybody tried to. Everything changed, just like everybody was scrambling, and all sorts of corruption happened. All sorts, you know, it was just so crazy. And then the government, of course, used it for whatever, you know, their thing that they.
Well, do. And that's what the sad part is now. Like, my podcast was never intended to be focused on the political. It was intended to focus on current events, the problems that people face, like the everyday person faces, the blue collar guy faces, and solutions to those problems. And basically like agorism and working outside of politics and taking care of yourself and being self-sufficient and
and here are issues that are going around us that we should be aware of, and we should act accordingly. But I would talk a lot about history and philosophy and theory and this type of stuff. And then like your podcast, it's not, you never intended for it to be political. You're like anti-political in a very, intent way. Yet because of what has happened over the last couple of years, you can't act in any way that people do not label you into some kind of political tribe or some kind of political circle. Like everything you do now is considered political. You're either with Antifa and Black Lives Matter, or you're not. And if you're like, I don't know, I don't fucking care, then you're against them and you're considered racist and a fascist. And so you're almost forced into this political corner where you have to act in a political manner and you have to think in a political manner. And it really blows for anybody that's just trying to live their life. Yeah,
that's definitely true. I always think about like what would my friends from back in the day, like who are all like super brainwashed or super whatever about liberal stuff. I always wonder what they would think if they like heard Ghost Jail, and like would they assume that I was like a Nazi or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just like not what they're used to hearing. It's just there's so many different worldviews on the show. We get things from people, sometimes from people who hate each other.
Yeah.
They don't know who else is going to be on the episode. I don't tell everyone who's going to be on the episode. Sometimes it's side by side people who don't like each other and disagree about everything. So it's like to listen to that and be like, oh yeah, this is Nazis.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they aren't liberals.
And
I would say that there's no liberals. That's one thing that's not on the show. I mean, maybe like I would say there's no like real ass liberals on there.
You got to get Alex Jones to record some stuff for you.
Oh my, dude, that would be the dream. That would be truly incredible. I don't know what I would tell him. Like, I don't know how I would interact with him to explain to him what he would need to do. Like, hey, just talk about this, man. You're amazing.
Just hand him a microphone and be like, COVID, go.
Yeah.
Hey, Boogie, stop. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Y'all got to at least at some point just incorporate that one clip from when he was on Joe Rogan, and he goes, okay, I got something to tell you. I'm kind of retarded.
Yeah, dude. I fucking love it. I don't know how anyone in the world looks at Alex Jones and thinks anything but like fun, cool, awesome, amazing, perfect guy. I really could never understand it.
I don't know, man.
Just like a force of nature, amazing, talented broadcaster, interesting, fun guy.
Yeah. And I take a lot of what he says with a grain of salt, but he makes me laugh. Like it's kind of like Ghost Gel. If I'm just in the mood, like in the evening where I just want to chill out and relax and laugh about some shit, I'll turn on fucking InfoWars from that day and just listen to Alex Jones go off, until I'm ready to go to sleep, because I'm like, this guy is fucking insane. He's a nut job,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just a force of nature. He's just he's a genius. I mean, he's kind of retarded, but he's a genius.
Yeah, but he knows he's kind of retarded, and that's what makes it so much fun.
I don't know, like the way in which he's retarded. I don't know like what word or how to categorize the type of retarded, but in most ways he's a genius. Like, for real.
I just can I can never like take him seriously when he starts like screaming and pounding on the table. That's like nothing makes me laugh harder.
Yeah. Love
like,
that shit.
All right, go for it, dude.
Or when he does like a Chinese voice and he's like, "Oh, kung fu, kung fu." Dude, he's so great. He's just a guy who got really good at broadcasting and just has a really good personality and grew up in a time before everything fucking sucked, when you can kind of say whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely entertaining, but sometimes people will send me something of his and be like, "Hey, have you heard of this?" Oh,
I
Alex,
guess.
have I heard of Alex Jones? Yes, I've heard of Alex Jones.
Yeah, I will say, like, there are some people who I don't want to, like, I would never say anything negative where I'd be like, this shouldn't be on the air, because I love him and I love all my crackpots. I love them and respect them. But there are some people who can't handle it. Can't handle hearing it, you know?
Yeah. Well, and even with like somebody like Alex Jones, I think what happens a lot of times, and I find myself kind of in this kind of like Bill Cooper kind of like mind state at times, to where I've read so much shit and I'm like really digging into so much like crap that it's hard for me to look at reality around me and what I'm living day to day and separate it from, you know, the tons of, you know, black pills that I've taken over the last week or whatever, you know? And so sometimes it's like, it's overwhelming. And so I can see how it can drive like a person like Alex Jones crazy, or, you know, like to an extent to where you're just always fucking overly paranoid and you're drinking all the fucking time. And that's all you can do to stay, you know, somewhat coherent is to just dump whiskey down your throat. And so I can kind of understand that. But at the same time, you gotta ask yourself, does this guy actually believe everything he's saying? I've heard people like say, I think he's a psyop, you know, for one reason or the other, or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't have any evidence of that. I can tell you this much. This guy has read enough like crazy fucking, you know, Cecil Rhodes Tragedy and Hope style fucking books that it's driven him completely insane. Like he's off the deep end.
You know what? I kind of disagree. I think that I think he's in touch with reality, like, pretty much. I think a lot of his listeners probably aren't, which is what I meant by a lot of people can't handle listening to it. But I think he's pretty much with it. I mean, I see what you mean, that he's kind of like lost it, but
yeah, I just don't see how you can dump.
He's all there. I think he's all there. And it takes a really strong person to do all that and not be completely delusional, which I don't think he is.
No, I don't think he's delusional. I think he's paranoid.
Yeah, he's paranoid.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have like paranoid delusions, you know?
Oh, no. No, I don't think that at all. But I think because I've gone through at times when he's like posted articles, and you know, he just reposts articles a lot of the time. And but he changes the headlines to what he thinks it's saying, right?
Oh, that's fun.
And so I go through and I like read the headline that he put up there, and then I read the article and I'm like, well, that's not actually what it's saying. Like, you're reading the worst possible interpretation of this article. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think like when you bury yourself in all this negativity all the time, Like, you find yourself looking at the worst possible scenario. And so when you read something, you're like, oh, that could lead to this. Well, that must be what they're saying. Well, no, that's not necessarily what they're saying. It could lead to that.
Yeah.
Possibly. That's one scenario.
Yeah.
But he reads those articles and then he puts his own headline on them. And then, like, you know all the headlines he reads on his show?
Yeah, I mean, I don't listen all that much anymore.
Well, he'll always be like, give me an overhead shot so we can look at this so they can see this, you know, and he'll show the headline. Well, it's like, yeah, that's what your headline is of an article that somebody else wrote. So what he does is he breaks down the worst possible scenario out of this fucking story and makes it the headline. And it's like, okay,
Gotcha.
dude, calm down just a little bit, bro. Just a little bit. So.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a fucking Looney Tune, but you gotta love him.
Oh yeah, man. He's like I said, he's entertaining. He's funny. It's
I'll turn
if
it
I
on
want to
here.
laugh, I'll tune in. I'll probably tune in tonight just because we're talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I like to just turn it on sometimes for a few.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I was like into all his like documentary and like I was into like the 9/11 stuff. Yeah.
He's been pushing Endgame a lot here lately. Every time I
What
turn
was
it on
that?
there. Endgame, it was one of his documentaries he did.
Oh no, I never seen it.
Yeah. It's not a bad documentary. I mean, they cover
What's it
like
about?
they cover Bilderberg.
Oh,
FEMA.
you know what? I probably have seen that. I watched these all in my friend's basement when we were in the metal band together, and all we did was hang out.
When you're
and
not
we
playing
would watch
metal,
Alex
you're
Jones.
watching Alex Jones. Who do you think you are, Dave Mustaine?
We were all kids. I mean, it was like 2008. It wasn't political to us, you know. We were watching that. We were watching like Loose Change, you know, just all this shit. All this. It was just fun. It was like you thought you were like learning weird esoteric shit, and then you just go home and be like, "That's interesting," and be like, "Hey, have you heard that this might not be true?" It wasn't like a big deal,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I don't know why people are so weird now.
Well, people are so weird because, like I said, everything's political now. No, you can't function in this life almost without being political. You know,
Yeah.
in some way, which is really sad. You know, I mean, I go, you know, I drive a truck all day, so, and I'll go make a pit stop somewhere, you know, and walk into a truck stop, and I overhear the cashier talking about, you know, the Trump impeachment, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, why do we need to talk about this? Like, why is it?
Yeah.
And then I'll get to my, you know, I'll get down the road to drop my trailer and get, you know, and they're talking about the same shit down there. And it's like, Jesus Christ. Politics is entertainment and sports nowadays. It's not politics anymore. It's something different now.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Like,
know?
I had I mean, one of the worst examples I've seen of that is I was like going to see one of the buddies I work on the podcast with was, he told me to go get his copy of Renegade History signed at this Thaddeus show because he was going to be out of town. And I was in the bar waiting for Thaddeus to go on, and they were playing the fucking impeachment shit, you know?
Yeah.
They were playing the first impeachment.
In a bar. Yeah.
In a bar. In a fucking bar, man.
Yeah. Can you turn on the fucking baseball game, goddammit?
Yeah. And they were talking about it, and they were all like giving their takes, and they all had like very intricate views about why he should be impeached and how it's definitely going to happen. And I was like, dude, what? Where am I? It was so
That's
weird. I was like, did I just walk into a fucking movie, like shitty movie?
It just reminds me of that, I don't know if you remember, there was this old 80s movie with Jim Belushi called Mr. Destiny. You remember this?
No, I do not know what that is.
Oh, okay. So he goes into this bar and he runs into this like, it's been so long since I've seen it, but he runs into this old man and basically tells him he wants a different life. And so the old man's like, all right, like he's like a genie, right? You're like, your wish is granted kind of deal. So he goes out and he's living this different life and he's like, what the fuck? No, this is not what I wanted, by the end of it. And he wakes up in the bar. It was all a fucking dream, but that's kind of how you feel nowadays. Like you just want to wake up. You want to wake up from this shit.
Yeah. Like sometimes I wonder if I sometimes I think about like solipsism, like the whole world's in your head or whatever. I'm like, am I willing this into being? This is my fault.
Yeah. Or
does anyone else exist? Is this my fault?
Right. Or what do they call it? The theory where everything's where we're living in a simulation. Yeah. Sometimes it feels like that too, because I mean, there's some of the shit you see and hear. It's like worse than Idiocracy. Yeah.
Bad, dark days, my friend.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, we've been going just over an hour, so plug away. Anything you got to plug, and we'll wrap this up.
Word. I mean, all I got is Ghost Jail. Check out Ghost Jail. Follow me on Twitter, big_boy_Berto. Click my buddies' links in my bio and follow them too, the guys I make the show with. I'll be around. Hopefully I don't annoy you too much on Twitter. Sometimes I post stupid shit and get into crazy moods, so I apologize.
And just to warn all of you, he does not like poor people. I found that out the other day.
I've just been posting about poor people for a week just for fun. I'm literally not even rich.
Nobody that does a podcast is rich.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, some of them are, but yeah.
This is the ticket, man. This is our ticket.
Yeah. This is our ticket. We're getting there. But yeah, I had a lot of fun, man. Thank you so much for having me on, and hope to talk again, man. You're a cool guy. I had a lot of fun.
Absolutely, dude. Hold on one second. Let me just stop the recording.
If you're gonna play this game of pick and choose, well, it's a game that was made for you to lose. It doesn't really matter how many times, it's the same old worn out stories, same old lines. They're all pointing dirty fingers in hypocrisy, bragging on their feats of mediocrity again. Never really making any kind of change, but they keep on getting re-elected, and I find that strange. And that's why I say fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them. I never celebrate the tyrants that are taking our freedoms. Yeah, I said fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them. I never celebrate the tyrants that are taking our freedoms. What's it gonna take for you to see that we're living in a rigged democracy? People stand in line for the things that they've been choosing, paying no attention to the rights they keep on losing. But they all gather in the rallies and they chant their names, on goddamn well that it's all gonna be the same. Just 4 more years of war and taxes, 4 more years of them grinding down their axes. And that's why I say fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them. I never celebrate the tyrants that are taking our freedoms. Yeah, fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them. I never celebrate the tyrants that are taking our freedoms. Cause we don't even need them, we'll never celebrate the tyrants that are taking our freedom. Fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them, we'll never celebrate the tyrants that are taking